I wanted to check out this video that CNN did. They went to Dearborn, Michigan, where there is a sizable part of the population that is against Biden to the point where, and against their continued support of Israel through weapon shipments and such, were so against their standing by Israel that they went and they voted for Trump. The majority of Dearborn's population ended up voting for Trump. It's a Muslim majority city. And it was the first time that ever happened. And so they wanted to go back there now that Trump said, hey, let's go annex Gaza, make it the Riviera of the Middle East. And now they're trying to backpedal. Now they're trying to pad the statement. Marco Rubio's going up there trying to do a tap dance, trying to distract everybody from what we just heard. But CNN went there to talk to those voters, both those who hosted Trump there because they wanted him to bring peace to Gaza and help the Palestinian people, and those who voted third party about whether they regret voting that way. And I wanted to check it out.
The program, we laid out the administration's rewriting of what the president said last night about taking over Gaza and remaking it as a Riviera of the Middle East, his words. Regardless of what the people around him say he said it all on camera, and millions of people saw it, including Arab Americans, many of whom voted for him. More from CNN's Jason Carroll now in Dearborn, Michigan.
Days before the last presidential election, Donald Trump was the invited guest at the Great Commoner restaurant in Dearborn, Michigan. Albert Abbas says he extended that invitation, a decision he is now reflecting on, given all that has happened in the last 24 hours.
Many in the community are at a loss for words. Last night was a very rough night for most of us.
Abbas is Arab American and one of a number of Democrats who voted for Trump. Abbas says he hoped Trump would do more than President Joe Biden did to help Palestinians suffering in Gaza.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
But after Trump said Palestinians should leave Gaza so it can be...
I'm sorry, how do you ever think he's going to do more than Biden to help the Palestinians in Gaza? It's one thing to think that, oh, maybe they'll be the same, right? I disagree with that, but I can at least somewhat understand that from a pessimistic viewpoint, to be like, there's literally no difference. But to say that he's going to be better, you have to be a special kind of schmuck. And I mean this with no politeness attached to it. You have to be a special kind of schmuck to think that he's going to be able to go in there and give the Palestinians the fairest shake when he's so backed by people like Sheldon Adelson and so deeply tied to a lot of the Israeli far right that view him very favorably. I mean, they're like naming shit after him. Like, they're naming settlements after Trump. I don't know what you expected. I don't. I mean, I understand that he didn't have a great personal relationship with Netanyahu specifically, but this is the you got to kill the families of terrorists guy, right? I mean, even if the war continues under both of them, like one of them is like openly like, I don't really care about civilian casualties. I don't know. What did you expect? I mean, honestly, what did you expect? The third party people, I mean, this is going to be something that there's going to be chipping back and forth about for the next 4 years, right? And I disagree with them. I think they're wrong. I think this is an example of why they're wrong. I think it's kind of obvious. Kind of like a Doe moment, but at the end of the day, the focus shouldn't be really on, oh, we told you voters. The focus should be, okay, let's do everything to make sure this crazy plan doesn't happen. That should be the focus. But if you really thought Trump was going to be better on this issue, you really bought the dumbass Kool-Aid, man. Trump could tell you that he's going to invade your country and conquer it one day. Next day he says he's your best friend, and you're just going to smile, your toothless smile, and drool all over the floor. You got to be a knuckle dragger if you're really buying that. I'm trying to be nice, but man, just how?
Redeveloped, Abbas says not only does he feel betrayed, he's hearing from a number of people angered over his past support of Trump.
People were...
I mean, it's also like, think of Trump's base. Which group of voters turn out the most for Trump has handed him every primary and has helped deliver him the White House every time he's won? Oh, yeah. Evangelicals. Yeah. What's their view of Israel? What's their view of the Israeli political situation? What do the evangelical spiritual leaders, many of them, how do they talk about the war? And how do Republican politicians talk about the war when it comes to bouncing the rubble? It's just, I don't know what people expected, really.
really, really frustrated.
Sometimes you just gotta listen to people. It's not this fucking crazy jujitsu puzzle piece. You gotta do like 20 backflips. Sometimes it's simple as, yeah, I want to kill the families of terrorists, and I'm backed by this. I'm financed by these donors who want to expand settlements, and I bomb them. What did you expect?
And I don't think there's anyone to blame. At the end of the day,
No one to blame.
as Arab Americans or Muslims, we really didn't have much of a choice.
You had so many other choices. Look, I will buy. I didn't go out and vote. I will buy. I voted third party. These are things I disagree with fiercely. I will lambast as ineffective, politically ineffective, wasting your political capital. I think looking at, because I'm not voting for somebody to have a beer with. I'm voting for somebody that's going to help guide our country the best way relative to the other options. Because, you know, if you have two rocky roads, you choose the one that's pebbles and not stabbing stones, creaking up and gonna stab the tires, you know? And obviously, you know, it's not exactly 100% apt comparison, but the point is that, like, you got your choices, and you chose to not just think, oh, I'm not going to vote for Biden, I'm not going to do everything I can to stop Trump from getting in there. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to vote third party. And so to send a message, no, you voted for the guy where if you're at the rally, the guy right next to you could literally be like, glass Gaza, glass Gaza, glass Gaza. Like, that person would probably be welcome at that event, right? That could be their position, and you could stand next to them cheering for the same guy, and you think somehow it's going to end up better, and you had no choice. You could have stayed home. It would have been better than you actively going out in Dearborn, Michigan, a swing state, mind you. So this is somebody who is really supposed to think about what he's doing and say, oh, I had no choice. You could have stayed home, got high, watched a movie, and ate ice cream, and you would have done a better service to the country than voting this way. If he just went there, look, I voted this way because I want to lower taxes. I'd be like, well, at least, you know, at least there's something there, you know. At least, I mean, it doesn't really make, actually, no, that doesn't make sense because of the tariffs. Never mind. Trump's kind of screwed up, like, the comparisons I would usually go to. But if there was, like, you know, all I care about is making sure that my religious school vouchers that I make so much money off of as a religious school leader could be approved constitution, then yeah, like, it makes sense. You know, and it's like, okay, I get it. But it's illogical. How did the mosaic of your brain, the puzzle pieces that you put together lead to this?
Dearborn, a Detroit suburb, is home to the largest Arab American population in the United States. Community which helped Trump carry the critical swing state. He won 42% of the vote in Dearborn versus Vice President Harris with 36% and Jill Stein with 18%. In 2020, Biden handily carried the city with 69%. Faye Nimmer voted for Trump in 2024 out of frustration over the previous administration's support of Israel. Now, she is troubled by the president's proposal to move Palestinians out of...
How is this, and what's your thinking process? Like, oh, I don't like that Biden is sending Israel weapons, so I'm going to support the guy whose main critique was we should have less restrictions on sending them weapons. Yeah, she's troubled in many ways. I don't want to be mean. It'd make more sense if there was like some personal like I work in the oil industry, so drill baby drill. I'm like, okay, at least I get it. But like, it doesn't make sense. This is not policy oriented voting in a swing state. Swing state voter. This person's vote is worth more than the vast majority of the people watching this show right now.
Of Gaza.
I mean, it's very concerning, and it's infuriating.
Personal feelings, you're infuriated, but standing by your decision for now to have voted for Trump.
Correct.
And what would move that needle for you to say, you know what, I made a mistake?
Palestine is the red line for this community.
Nimmer says she suspects Trump is bluffing.
Trump has already removed the restriction. Like this whole conversation right now could have been had like a week or two ago when Trump lifted the restrictions on sending 2,000-pound bombs to Israel when we don't have a permanent peace deal. And after the first phase of the prisoner transfers, after the first 6 weeks is done, it's highly likely that fighting's going to start again. That's my estimate. That's my prediction. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. But that's highly likely. And with 2,000-pound bombs in tow, slamming into Gaza, it's going to do more damage. And Trump is not somebody who particularly cares about civilian casualties. At that point, you had already been proven, oh, I guess there is literally a difference. That's literally, you could say that's not a really big significant difference that, well, Biden's bombs were smaller, Trump's bombs bigger. But that's still a difference. So there is a difference. And so at the end of the day, you could have literally stayed home and say, I didn't get any blood on my hands. You could say like inaction is still like choosing a side, whatever. And then we can have that debate. I would argue against it still. But at least you could try to remove yourself in some way from this equation. But now, like, you're a swing state voter. You're a swing state voter. And you voted this way. And you still are in suspense about how this is going to go. This is just cope. She's completely suspended in her own cope. She is, honestly, I think she might have she might be pill popping under the table when the camera crews aren't there. She's popping a few in her mouth of copiums. She is definitely faking doctor's notes to get higher prescriptions of copium medication. High grade. The things to like, oh, well, Gaza's, Palestine still your red line. What do you mean still your red line? It's 2,000-pound bomb decision. It's over. Done. You can see the writing on the wall. Listen to the way he's talking about it. Look at who finances his campaigns. Look at who his base is that he needs to keep happy. Look at the people around him. Look at his ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. He doesn't even think Palestinians exist.
And is using his proposal as some sort of negotiating tactic.
I mean, even if that's the case, if his starting position is, I will make the Gaza Strip the Riviera of the Middle East where we'll just conquer it. Let's say he gets halfway there, like he compromises. Halfway between conquer and full ethnic cleansing and whatever the other position would be. It's still going to be a terrible, it still feels like you're way in the terrible section here. Way deep.
That's the same sentiment shared by Amar Zar.
First, this is clearly not going to happen, right?
And real estate broker Ali Alfarajala.
A lot of people are calling me and texting me saying, hey, how do
hey,
you...
are you, maybe you should have, maybe, huh? Yeah, I would have thought. I mean, but this is going to be like the debate we're going to have for the next 4 years. It's going to be like this all the way up till 2028, honestly. Just like it was from 2016 to 2020.
A lot of people are calling me and texting me saying, hey, how did your vote work out? How was that third party vote?
Both were so-called protest voters. Neither supported Trump or Harris.
Are there any sort of second thoughts now about having supported a third-party candidate?
Absolutely not. And I'll still do it again and again and again.
Which one?
So
if it's Dearborn, statistically, it's probably Jill Stein because she got like 18, I think, over there, 18%. Probably Jill.
a protest vote? I don't know. I would say it was a targeted.
It's like the only place she got like double digits, I think, for real. I might be wrong about that, though.
Vote of conscience to say that the children of Gaza have to mean something. Their death has to mean something.
And while Arab Americans here were divided in the past, going forward, one point is uniting them: opposition to Trump's proposal to move Palestinians out of Gaza.
The community will be unified. I will tell you this. The Palestinian people would rather die and live in a demolition site than to be ethnically cleansed and being sent out of Gaza to Egypt or Jordan.
I mean, I don't know how I feel when I hear people say that when they're not there. When you're not in a place and they're like, those people would rather die than accept your terms. Like, I don't know if you can really. There are a lot of Palestinians that make that case. It's just always weird when I hear somebody say that when they're not the person that would be the one dying. But it's almost certainly true in the case of Palestine that a lot of people probably would. Because, I mean, many people have been already displaced from their homes like once or twice before. and then they've resettled in Gaza for are they really going to want to give up their homes a third time? Especially if what's being offered to them, a refugee camp in Egypt and Jordan where they won't be given citizenship status.
So again, Anderson,
I think that's everything. Okay.
after spending some time here in the Arab American community, you really get a sense that they feel like they've been let down by both Republicans and Democrats. Certainly, there's a great deal of frustration after hearing what Trump is proposing, but there's also a feeling that had Harris been elected, had it been a Harris administration, the feeling here is that Palestinians would still be suffering. Anderson?
It wouldn't be a fucking annexation. We're gonna put Viva Las Vegas in the Gaza Strip. But yeah, it is probably true they would be. Maybe more pressure on Netanyahu though. Jill Stein. Oh, do you think Jill Stein will run again in 4 years? Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna swing from the fences and say yeah. In 4 years, she's not gonna be doing anything, and she's gonna do it again. Yeah, probably. I mean, what are they gonna do? Run somebody else? Who else is the Green Party but Jill Stein? I mean, they should run somebody else. They should start building the party up from the ground up in some states, concentrating on that instead of necessarily just running a presidential candidate every 4 years, which just seems to be her focus. But they're not going to do that, so the Green Party will stay relevant, and the institutional barriers will stay the same. The only positive thing that comes with this is that this may help the Democrats in the midterm election, right?